Hey, everybody. Welcome to this impromptu conversation number 14 of
Oh,
14. You're
nice.
first. Do you know what people remember, Becky?
They're first.
The first
I
and the
love
last.
it. Yeah.
And you guys, welcome. I'm Crystal. For those of you guys I don't know, we're going live in the CF group, and this is going to obviously on YouTube too. So if you're watching it there, hi. I'm a certified facilitator with Access. I've been doing this since 2014. And Becky, you're a certified facilitator and a JCF. We're both JCFs.
Yeah.
How long have you been certifying facilitating?
Uh, I think 5 years.
Okay.
I think 5 years. I think 2017 maybe might have been my first facilitator training. Probably.
Okay. I have questions about that. And and you've been at JCF for almost that long too. Yeah.
No. It's funny because the Joy of Business book is actually one of the first books that I said books that I read.
Yeah.
I would say I think in 2000 and like 11 or 12, and it completely changed my whole reality with business.
Huh.
And I used the tools, and I created a few businesses where I created millions of dollars just using the tools and reading this book. Then I came
Wait,
to,
what?
a class, a couple years later. But just the book was that epic for me in changing my life. It was
Wow.
one of the first things that I did. And what I was going into, and then it took me how long to actually choose to facilitate the classes that changed my life.
I know, but it's so cool because like it is really true. Like you can find I've totally forgotten that you and I had talked about that you had changed your whole life, built a couple million dollar businesses, and then finally went to class
Yeah.
with the free stuff or the $35 stuff.
Yeah. Well, and
Wow.
we're in certified facilitators group and YouTube too. But I always love to tell people that, like if you can't, if you're whoever you're talking to, if they can't afford a class yet, there's so many free tools that will change their life that will
Yeah.
can lead them into the possibilities of creating, the money for like some of these classes and some of the different things. It's epic. And I always say, well, if you can't afford the class yet, get the book. Watch the videos like on YouTube. If you're watching this, use these tools. They work.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, even so, this is my first year as an official Joy Business facilitator. I've been facilitating business for I love business. It like is my oxygen. Um, and where was I going with that? I had a point. It was leading to a question. Yeah. So what for you? So I mean, you were able to create so much with just the tools. So the
Yeah.
choice to become a JCF, like what was that? What was that for you?
Well, for me, I like these tools speak to everybody.
Yeah.
And all the tools speak to everybody. Like, but some of the specialties are just a little bit different. I personally, as a facilitator, like all of the specialties, and then here we're talking about Joy of Business, speak to certain tools differently. I get like you could take these tools and go to corporate. You can go and actually utilize these anywhere. They're very pragmatic tools that can change anything in your life and your business. And so um, for me, even being a facilitator, I always kind of like trick myself into things where I'm like, how much does business come up when you're facilitating?
Yeah.
How much are people like, how do I make more money? How do I do these different things? Pretty much all the time. Like you can be, have a relationship topic and somehow business or money
And money comes up.
will
Yeah.
come up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what you're facilitating.
Yeah.
And the amazing things that I find about like these specialties with access consciousness is it's like having all these different tools and your toolkit to make you a better facilitator. Um,
Yeah. It's kind
do
of shocking how much you really do require in each of these areas of
Mhm.
life to be able to render easy, like to facilitate is to render easy, like to be able to render easy these different things. They really kind of need to be working in your own life. And one of the things I was personally aware of with business is that I had this immense capacity for creation, but I offered this also simultaneously immense capacity for linearity. And what was starting to occur is the two abilities were starting to collide, and my body was starting to hurt. And so I knew there was an easier way. I knew that I wasn't utilizing the ease and the joy and the glory that was also available in business.
Yes. Yeah. And
It was
Simone has that, which is so like one of the things for me where Simone has an ease with money. Like we've recently just did a Business Done Different class with Simone, and I'm like, mic drop, epic. Like if there's, many areas that Simone's amazing at, but facilitating the ease of having your own back in life. And when you're willing to have money, when you're willing to have business and, different things going on, like you are honoring you. And with Simone, it's just like, that's one thing that she's like, gosh, she has her own back. She has your back, everyone's back, but she has her own back. And I was like, I'll have that. And for me, when we were even on this Business Done Different, and I was talking about it, it's like, when you start applying these tools, does your life change right away? Maybe
some things,
not.
and maybe
Sometimes.
Not everything.
Yeah, and maybe it's something that you don't actually recognize right away. But what I noticed changed for me was the energy with money and having.
Right. Yeah. Wow, that's huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so did you grow up having money or not? Or something else?
It was very interesting. My grandparents had money, and my mom like hated money because she was controlled from like that. They would give you money, but there was always a catch. So like there was this weird twisted thing with money of like, you have it, but then you ask for it, and then you're gonna owe. Like you know what I mean? Like you're gonna owe it somehow. And so there's always this weird twist of like, we actually always had money, but my mom was like, we don't have money, we're broke. And so for me, it was just always very interesting. Like I'm sure many of you. And what I noticed is that, when I first started, like when I said I read that book, I created millions of dollars. I created like many zeros, but I also spent many zeros. So
epic hand to mouth.
Yeah, so like I never like considered myself like rich. Like there's a different energy with actually having money. And people be like, well, you got money, you're rich, and you make all this money on these businesses. I'm like, yeah, like a lot of money comes in, but with expenses and different things, the way I function, like a lot went out too.
I ain't cheap.
I like to spend money. And there's another thing that when people like, I had a lot of people working for me at one point. I had like over 50, 60 people all over the United States doing these jobs for me. And I love to pay them. I love to pay them. Like I paid them probably double like what other people would. So it did create this, amazing thing of like, when they knew they called me, the people that I had, like they would do anything for me because I had this honoring of them. But I didn't make a lot of money that everybody else was, because I paid like a lot of people and I paid them really well.
So what changed for you, like with the conversations about money, and like what changed? What have you changed with these conversations?
Well, there's the thing of like, why I'm just going to say how it's coming up. It's like I abused myself with money. Like, why would I not have money to actually have my back? Why would I put the stress on myself of worry of am I going to have this amount of money in the next few months, like a month? Well, I have the clients that come in that pay me, and so there was always an energy of like, I actually truly wasn't honoring me. And it's like self-abuse. I was really like, I can take it. It's easy. Let me pay everybody else. I had partners that always like required something. They had some catastrophe and here you go, here to fix it. And like, but I didn't honor me with having money and having, like a year's worth of money in the bank that I would always be able to pay the bills. And so that's the energy that I really looked at of like, hey, I'm no longer doing that to myself.
Yeah, brilliant. That's so brilliant. And one of the things I love about any access consciousness choice, whether it's to become a facilitator or whatever, is that you can continually choose forward into more, like no matter where you're at or how you got there or what the story is behind it, like you can use that next conversation to like stimulate another demand. I love that this year's class is called Follow the Demand.
Imagine that.
Yeah. What does that mean to you? Just to put you on the spot, like what does follow the demand mean to you? What is that for you?
Well, for me, there's I just talked about this the other day with somebody about well, how do you create things? How do you do these different things? And I'm always like, I have no idea. But what I do know is that just like the having of money, finally when I get it, when something like that thing just sort of clicks, and then I'm like, I'm having this. I have no idea how it's going to show up. I'm not even sure what it's going to look like, but I'm choosing it. And then being able to choose beyond this reality things when they show up. Because if it was in this reality already, I would have it, right? Like there's these things that I'm asking for and it would already be, in my world, but these things aren't. So for me, like really following the demand is like that, just saying yes. Yes. Can you do that? Yeah. If it matches, like I know what I'm asking for. Yeah.
Right. And instantaneously. You don't even have to go in and feel into it or think about it. Like you just know.
Yes.
Yeah.
You just know.
What
yes
is
or no? That's one of my great
yes, no reality. It's one of my favorite business tools ever, living tools ever. It's like, is it yes or no?
Yes.
If it's no, it's not yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It can be really quite that easy. Yes, no, yeah. Oh, it's a yes. Do I have the details? Do I know how it's going to work out?
Yeah.
No, but like I get that's a match. And then the willingness to just do whatever it takes. Somebody asked me the other day, what do you do? What are you doing? And I'm like, whatever it takes. What is that?
That's the best response ever.
Whatever it takes, whatever in the moment shows up. That's what I do. I have no idea what I do sometimes, but it's just whatever it takes. And they thought that was the funniest thing ever. And I was like, oh, yeah, it is funny, but I'm really telling the truth.
But it's true.
But it's true.
What makes your life work? Whatever it takes.
Whatever
That's what makes my life. Yeah. Oh man, what would you say? And then we can wrap with this. Like, what would you say that choosing to become a JCF, choosing to facilitate these tools, what's the greatest gift of that for you so far?
The gift of that, there actually is something else possible. You don't have to just survive. You don't actually have to worry. You actually can create a life that includes you. And, the other thing that really came up for me is, like people always want to know, like, are you a financial genius? Are you, do you really know what you're doing at all these things? And I was like, wow, I know when I'm being a genius is when I'm actually willing to know nothing. And then what's next of then the information comes, people show up in my life that are willing to help me or give me ideas or like, hey, how does that work? And you ask them questions, and it's really like those tools have showed up for me in here of like trusting you that you actually know.
I love that so much. That is probably the most invaluable thing that I've been gifted in any Access Consciousness classes, that I do know I can. And if I'm willing to show up for myself, everything is possible. So
yeah. And then there's also some great pragmatic tools that will come in.
Put 10% of your money away and then put 10%.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I appreciate you so much, Becky. And for those of you guys watching, you're welcome. You're welcome to join us for the Certified Facilitator training this year. This is our second this year, and next year we're going to be going probably to one per year. So
yeah. And if you're a certified facilitator, and you're like, well, I'm not sure, like you actually don't have to have the prereqs to take this class. The only prereq is for you to be a certified facilitator. Now, if you'd like to be a Joy of Business facilitator of the specialty, there are some prereqs that you would require and to look at. But the coolest thing about this is that when we talked about is that these tools can change your whole facilitation business, your whole life, by just having them. So if this is for you.
Yeah. Come join us.
Yes.
See you later.
Bye.